Tuesday, October 1st to order. And facilities update. I'll turn it over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, facilities workshop. We have 4 items. We're going to start with the Poinciana High School Business School update. I'll ask Mr. John Quattrone with Song and Associates to join us.
Thank you.
I have to wrestle that out of there.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, board members, Mr. Allen, Ms. Weinhardt, and everyone. Thank you for having us here. Let's get started on this. So just the parameters of the project. 500 student stations, approximately 2 stories, approximately 30,000 square feet. It'll be a tilt-up concrete and steel frame building, and we are utilizing some high-performance energy strategies such as lower air infiltration, correct building orientation, better insulation and glazing, minimizing direct solar gain, and our goal is an EUI, which is energy use intensity, projected to be 25, and as a comparison, the typical building of this type would have an EUI of 45 to 50. So that would be a good improvement. The construction budget is $6.525 million. The construction is slated to start in November of 2019. The building will open in August of 2020. And substantial completion date will be June 30th, 2020. And the school clinic at the high school will also be upgraded under a separate project to bring the number of beds and some other issues up to the current codes for today. Looking at the schedule,
That's because of the addition of the student stations.
That's correct. Thank you. Looking at the schedule, look at the orange arrow there. We are currently in the bid phase, so our documents for bidding were completed on 9/26 as per the schedule, and documents are out now to the CM, and the CM is engaged in the bidding process. And once again, the final completion will be, the substantial completion will be 6/30/2020, and final completion 7/27/2020. This is the overall site plan. So the new addition is in red, the red rectangle. So as you travel down Poinciana Avenue, you'll have a good view of the building. As you enter the main entry driveway, you'll have an excellent view of that new building, and it has prominent location because we do want to showcase the new Business Academy program.
And we want to have the ability to bring in the business partners through a separate secure lobby that will be housed in that new building.
So that's a little bit closer, and we do have a self-contained zone, and that follows up on what Mark was saying, and if we look at the next slide, that will show that. So inside that self-contained zone, we have a perimeter that is controlled by electronic locks and card readers. The secure lobby will have ballistic glass for any of those entrances and windows. And the spaces in there are the following. A mixer space, which is the large double space to the right. Space number 2 is the secure lobby. Space 4 is a collaboration incubator for the business partners. Space number 3 is the Academy Director's office, and the Academy Director would have visual control of the secure lobby. And then space number 5 is a business partner suite, which has a conference area, a kitchenette, and an office for the business partner. That entire area is a self-contained zone, separate from the rest of the school. And of course, we don't show the entire plan during meetings of this type, but that showed you the self-contained zone.
And this has all been vetted with safety and security as well.
Correct. This is the exterior view of that building. It is kind of a refreshed look for the previous prototype. We are using a little bit different color scheme based on feedback that we got from the last board presentation. So the pediment areas that you see there are in white so that they will be very distinctive. But we have also used the coral color and the brick accent colors that are used in the rest of the campus. So we think that'll make it distinctive, yet it will also tie in with the rest of the campus.
And if I may, Board Chair, keep in mind that we are hoping to reach a decision point on the actual name. I know that we pushed that to unfinished business at our last board meeting. This is what we had talked about at the last workshop. You guys had kind of talked about maybe an Osceola Business Academy at Poinciana High School, so that if we decided to do one at St. Cloud High School or at Gateway High School down the road, we would have that pattern. You know, certainly we wait the pleasure of the board, but we are hoping to reach some decision points fairly quickly, both for the planning and design of the building, but also for the planning and design and development of recruitment materials that Poinciana High School's group would like to take to our choice fair the first week of November.
Once that name is determined, we are on the previous slide.
Just a second, so if you need it by then, if we do it at our next meeting, if we can get everybody here, that would still be okay?
It'll be tight.
I'm sorry, Edmund.
Oh, no, quite all right. If we can just quickly look at the previous slide for just one moment. Once that name is determined, we are showing stand-away letters that are backlit with LED lighting, so the facility name will be quite prominent and part of the overall design. So next slide. Looking at the north side of the building, which is where the bus driveway is, the northeast side, we also have a stand-up letter sign that would be visible from Poinciana Boulevard as you drive down Poinciana Boulevard. And then you'll come into the main entry and you'll see the front of the building and you'll see the name again. We will be using flexible furniture in this facility, and particularly in the mixer spaces and the labs. So you get a sense here with this image of how the flexible furniture can be moved around, reassembled, put into different organizational clusters. We are also in the mixer spaces and in the large labs. We'll have an open ceiling to give more volume within the space.
And we're working very closely with the core stakeholders, Dr. Reinhardt and Ms. Stefanowicz from CTE, to determine what those FF&E needs will be.
And Scott Clark as well.
In terms of acoustics in those open ceiling spaces, we'll be using suspended baffles such as you see here, and it gives the opportunity for some color as well as mitigating the level of sound in the room and improving the acoustics overall.
And also what that does, leaving the ceiling open, gives that feeling of a bigger volume space. So when ceilings start to get put in, it feels like the spaces become longer or smaller, so to create that large volume space.
And we have two different kinds of small collaboration spaces, and this illustrates one of those types where you see the sliding glass door and the ability to have a small group discussion with marker board and do brainstorming. So we wanted to facilitate small group brainstorming, which we think is good for that program. And basically that concludes our presentation, and if you have any questions, we'll be very pleased to answer them.
Great job, John. Thank you to
Okay.
you and Song & Associates for driving
Great
the aggressive
presentation.
schedule.
Thank you.
We basically we started with a 2-month program verification and a 2-month design. Fortunately, we have a prototype, but the song team has been keeping this moving, so thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Have a
Thank
good evening.
All right, next up, we have the Denjon Middle School construction update. We'll ask Mr. Brian Walker with Pirtle Construction to join us at the table. Brian is our project manager for Denjon Middle School, and Brian, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. This is Denjon Middle School. This is just an aerial view of what we've got going on out there right now. You mind if I stand up?
Not at all,
Okay.
no.
These are
So
point
I'm
to
sure you
things.
guys are aware of the
Just don't
property.
touch the screen. It
Okay.
moves when you do that.
So this is the spaceship, obviously. This is the 200 and 300 that we combined together. Now it's called the new building 200. The music building that we renovated over the summer, building 400, and building 500, the gym with the new locker room here on the back side of it. And then this is our new building 100, and this was as of September. This is just some of the summer work that we just completed of building 200 and 300. We combined the two together, combined the two buildings together. This will be the new front entry of the school once the spaceship goes away. The pictures on your right is the front lobby going into the front receptionist, and then this is one of the ESE classrooms down below.
Board members, if I may interrupt, I had the opportunity to visit the school just briefly last week for a Positively Osceola teacher feature recognition, and I have to tell you, it's just truly amazing how different this is going to present itself to the community and to the schools. The office is not currently being utilized by Mr. Hoyle and his team. They're preparing to move over the Christmas break, but the ESE wing is open and serving students, and it's really a huge improvement from Spaceship
Yeah, and
Enterprise.
CT Shoe did a remarkable job of taking several old buildings and blending the features in with the new one to have a very united overall campus, looking like we actually designed it that way. So
Yeah, it's gonna be super.
This is more of our completions of our summer work. This is inside the chorus room at the big picture there on the left. That's the chorus room. The bottom right picture is the band room, the new renovated band room with the sound panels and everything installed. And then the top right picture is the new locker room that we added on. And then this is just a couple of pictures of the new chiller yard with the new chillers and pumps, building 600. And then this is a few of our pictures of the exterior of the new building 100. This area right here, this is the back side of the music building is right here, and this will be the courtyard. Underneath here is where they'll have the tables, I guess, for lunch, and then you'll go right into those doors there to get into the main corridor that goes into the multi-purpose and kitchen area. And then this is the multi-purpose room with the nice red tile on the kitchen. And then to the right, this is, if you were coming in from outside, this is the main corridor coming in, and then you'll go into the multi-purpose room right here, and then down below is the stage.
which we did widen the opening of the Presidium on the stage.
And then this, I believe the picture to your left is the new, one of the computer labs that we expanded from 2 rooms into one big room. The bottom right picture is the new media center, and the top right picture is a classroom. And then this is just a little bit of where we're at currently in construction and where we will from now to summer of 2020. So currently, we are in the process of building this temporary. The green here is going to be the temporary parent loop. So January, 1st of January, when the students come back, parents will use this road here and will drop off right here at building 200 and then exit back onto Den John. Den John, the new turning lane will be operational at that time. The traffic signal at the down at the corner will be operational at that time. This will still be using the existing bus drop off, but all of this, the new building 100, 200, 400, 500 will be all open to students and teachers come first of the year. The area in white here will be fenced off. This will be all under construction because we're going to demo that area out and start working on the parking lot of that area. And then as well as this will all be fenced off so that we can start working up here on the new track.
We'll be taking out the portables at that time.
And then this is once we finish up into the summer, once the school's let out, then we can finish the completion, the little pieces that are left as far as taking out the existing bus loop and finishing up the parking lot and then finishing up the roundabout here for the parent drop-off.
So, Brian, when the students return in the fall, they'll be utilizing that new, longer student drop-off parent area
Correct.
that has lots of stacking.
Correct.
And the bus loop will then revert down to the other end of the site.
Correct.
Okay. And that brings us to the end. Thank you very much, Mr. Walker. Great
It does
update.
look great out there.
So we will now transition over to our redistricting update. Ask our Director of Planning, Ms. Rhonda Blake, to join us. Rhonda, take it away.
Just a brief update. We have closed the Bella Lago Charter Academy relief. We have obtained a vote already from the committee to move forward on November 5th, so that one went relatively well. We've had our first high school meeting for Celebration High School. High schools were always eventful, so this one was no exception. And our second meeting will be 1 week from tomorrow. It looks like we're going to be bringing back an alternative scenario, but we do anticipate a vote next Wednesday, and that one will also come back to you on November 5th.
Just be moving some kids out of Celebration back to Osceola and Poinciana.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes. We had anticipated bringing the 5-year work plan to you this evening. Typically, it goes to the school board and back up to the state by October 1st. However, the state did not open it until after 4:30 on Friday. So staff is diligently working on it this week, as well as all 67 counties in the state of Florida. We hope to have it finished by the end of Friday and to bring it back to you on October 15th for full review and approval. So at this time, we're not able to move forward with this item. And then we had one remaining item. About a month or so ago, we had agended an item for Edgewater, and then we had pulled it due to the state changing the layout of the Turnpike Exchange on that side of town.
That's the Edgewater development on Clay Rayleigh Road, Kissimmee Park area.
So due to that movement of that Turnpike Exchange, we are having to look at relocating the high school site inside of Edgewater. So Mr. Adams came to me and stated they own approximately 25 of the 50 acres that we will need, and they would be able to move forward with the mitigation agreement with us, which we do through impact fee credits. However, the adjacent 25 acres they do not own, but they have contacted the property owner for that property, and they would be interested in selling to us for appraised value to give us the 50 acres that we need. So I'm looking for direction from the board to be able to move forward to speak to that owner to purchase that property based on appraised values, working through our real estate broker and with the broker already on the property, so it would be a co-broker situation. And Sarah has committed that up to $2 million for the purchase of the 25 to 30 acres would be in the budget to move
Do we
forward.
think that's in the appraised value range?
Do you want to address that, John?
Where is it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have, it's off of Clay Rayleigh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You're welcome. Of course, you know where it is.
Good afternoon, I'm John Adams with R.J. Wood & Associates. We're actually planners for the Edgewater development, and we've had quite a bit of history on this project and surrounding properties. And to answer your question directly, managed right, I believe that would be an acceptable price to tie that property up. I do know that right now there are certain entitlements that go with the existing urban center, which is in this location. However, should the Turnpike decide to move their Turnpike exchange a half mile to the north, the urban center and those entitlements are moving with it.
So this piece of property is based on the assumption or a good chance that the Turnpike entrance is moving to Nolte.
Yes, yes, it's very likely that that will occur. However, should it not, this is still a location which would meet the criteria of the code.
We'll back it up, though. If it doesn't move, does this location still work?
Yes, it
Yes.
does. Well,
And for
I
a
can't
much,
speak
it
for
does
you.
work, and for a much more affordable price than the price per acre inside of the urban center, which is what the land development code recommends is in or adjacent to. So the county has agreed that they would let us move this direction to keep the urban center set for what it's designed for, which is commercial.
It seems like something we should move with
Okay.
rapidly.
That's what we're looking for
Just
direction
that we
to
can
do.
turn.
Yes.
You okay with that, Kevin?
Okay.
okay,
I'll have Bishop feel good with Mr. Shea.
thank you. And I'm
Okay.
available anytime should any questions come up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
That was my only other item.
Okay,
Okay.
and that concludes our facilities workshop.
Very good. Thank you. Ron, you got a quick second?
Good job. I know you do, you always do. That was,
Got missed.
that's okay.
Calvin, did you have anything else you wanted to
It
discuss?
didn't matter today.
Did you get text response?
I just thought it was fitting that you